Ukraine's military strength has become a major focus in Donald Trump's proposed peace plan, which reportedly emphasizes reducing the country's military capabilities as a central step toward ending the ongoing conflict. President Volodymyr Zelensky has strongly rejected the idea of limiting Ukraine's armed forces to 600,000 troops, a condition outlined in the detailed 28-point peace proposal being discussed. Leaders from the European Union have submitted their own counterplan, which according to reports, pushes for raising the troop limit to 800,000 in an effort to maintain Ukraine's defense capacity. Officials in Kyiv, along with their international allies, argue that any imposed troop limit is unfair and unrealistic, as Ukraine has been actively defending its territory against ongoing Russian aggression. Despite the debate over numbers, military analysts predict that even with peace, Ukraine's armed forces might eventually shrink due to economic pressures and the high costs of maintaining a large standing army. Oleksiy Hetman, a military analyst, said, and I quote, "We will not need nearly 1 million troops in the armed forces post-war, as we have today. We don't even have enough training grounds where these people could conduct training and combat coordination." The U.S. and Ukraine-approved peace plan, as reported by the Financial Times, now includes a provision that would cap Ukraine's post-war army at a peacetime strength of 800,000 troops, setting a formal upper limit on the country's future military forces. Ukraine believes that, as a fully sovereign and independent country, it must retain the exclusive right to decide the size, strength, and structure of its own armed forces without external limits being imposed. However, once the fighting stops, Ukraine may itself be forced to significantly reduce the number of troops it keeps under arms, driven by the enormous financial cost of a large standing army and the pressure to rebuild its war-damaged economy. A Center for Strategic and International Studies report said, and I quote, "With a ceasefire, it will want to demobilize some of its forces, now estimated at 880,000, and will likely end up below 600,000. Before Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine's active-duty army numbered roughly 209,000 professional soldiers, highlighting how dramatically its forces have had to expand in response to the existential threat it now faces. Although cutting the size of Ukraine's army is being discussed as part of the wider peace negotiations, many military experts warn that shrinking its forces too far could leave the country exposed and weaken its ability to deter future aggression. If any formal limit on Ukraine's troop numbers is ultimately agreed in a peace deal, the measure would still need to be approved and written into law by the Ukrainian parliament before it could actually take effect. However, leaders in the European Union and several security analysts argue that capping Ukraine's army now would send the wrong message to Russia, suggesting weakness or concession at a time when the aggressor should be facing firm deterrence instead.
In order, if we want to prevent this war to continue, then actually we should, curb the army of Russia and also their military budget. Because if you're spending 38% of your total budget on military, and by the way, only 16% on social affairs in Russia, so if you're spending 36 or was it 38? I actually might mix the numbers, but close to 40%, let's say so, close to 40% you spend on the military, then you will want to use it again. And that is a threat to us all. And that's why the focus should be on these concessions that Russia will make.
Some experts argue that even if accepting a troop cap is essential to securing a ceasefire and moving toward peace, Ukraine should still push hard to set that cap as high as possible to preserve meaningful long-term defense capabilities.